today's adventure through my psychology, human nature, we'll be talking about raising a child. Every parent has that desire of, I want to raise a child who is successful in life. I want my child to become a doctor. I want him to become a lawyer. I want him to become an engineer. No parent wants their child to become a thief or a terrorist or something. But then when children grows, it's all about where they grows. Give me the child until he is 7, and I would show you the kind of man he is. Children, it is easier to build strong children than to repair a broken man. And I kept thinking about when children grows, they are raised in a very environment that we look around and say, for sure, they are amazing. It is easier to raise a child, a very strong child, than to repair a broken man. So when I'm looking around, I'm just thinking about what kind of men that we are raising in the society. When someone goes through something, when a child grows with compassion, every parent is scared of what will my child become when they grow up, they become an adult. It is something that they are scared of. Every parent is scared of that. It is something that they are so worried about. When one child is raised in a compassionate environment, he can heal the world. When another one grows in a very unhealthy guidance, they can heal, they can cause mayhem, because they can bring suffering to millions. It is all about where they grow up. So the question is, will they change the world in a good way or in an evil way? When I was talking to someone, when we were talking about something to do with when someone goes through something, like a trauma, something, and then when they grow up, they have a lot of bitterness inside them. They cannot help themselves out, and they are so scared, they're so broken, they are so, and I was looking like, then my friend was telling me, when someone is having a lot of bitterness in them, it is them to decide if they want if they want that bitterness to shape them in a positive way or in a negative way. Because it has to shape them in a way. And when you project it when you allow it to shape in a better way, you can change the world. Like you want to change a world that you don't want someone to go through what you went through before. And someone grows up and decides to, wow, that won't happen to me. I want to cause trouble and suffering to people because of bitterness or something went through in life. It is a very scary world. When a child grows up, it matters a lot. Every time I always think about one person changing the world, changing nations, changing the whole generation, changing what we look at life and bringing change in this generation that we are living, the world that you're living into. Look at the likes of Adolf Hitler, someone who grew up in a very moderate family. Our father was he disciplined him so much. He could give him the discipline that he deserved. Because, when a child grows up without a discipline, my friend, they are spoiled. And you don't want a very spoiled child who is growing up, a pampered prince or princess. And the mother was so loving because Hitler Adolf was one of the best that she and Claire. He was pampered, of course, and then he lost his dad and he lost his father. He lost his dad and he lost his mother. So he grew up having a lot of ideologies, and then he caused the world to suffer. He initiated World War II. One person, a very disturbed civilization is affected in our world, causing changes and suffering to millions just because of one person with their own motive and something. Every time I meet with a person, a human being, I always see the power they carry inside them. It doesn't matter what kind of person they look like. They can be carrying the power that can change the world in a positive way or in a negative way. It's all about them to decide, how will I change the world in this way? And then when you look keenly, when someone grows and becomes someone or maybe acquires power, they can make the world a better place or hell on earth or a paradise. on earth. And I can't help thinking about the way we are looking around the world, and we just thinking about, you know, it's all about what goes on. When we look at someone like Mother Teresa, she grows up in an environment that she knew she could see the mother caring for the people, loving people, sharing what she earned, and then she acquired that. We can see she made the world a better place. It's all about one person and change the world. Is a butterfly effect when you start and then you change the whole world. I'm imagining Mother Teresa and the change that she brought in the world. I'm imagining Adolf Hitler and the change that he brought into the world. World War II. A lot of people died then. It's crazy how I'm looking at the world in a dimension where just one person can change the world entirely. Michael Jackson is the king of pop that we know. He put his everything. He put his effort in his music, and then he releases music. He entertained us. He made the world a better place, Healed the world. Through Michael Jackson, people started realizing that it's possible. We can sing that way. We can do this one. We can vibrate. We can sing. It's like we are we are the vessels. We can sing nicely. We can push the limits. Even locally, like this marathon runner, Kipchoge, no man is limited, because it's all about one person just telling you, it's possible. And then it causes a change in the world. One person changed to millions. There is this effect they call ripple effect. If one child grows up in a family where he or she was treated well, was raised health, he got the guidance for him to grow well. They can change the world in a different way. It's all about you just looking at the child and causing positive changes in their families and families, and before you know it, the world is a better place. But think about the vice versa. When I was trying to research the story of Michael Jackson, the king of pop, is just one man who is just having a talent. He can sing nicely. He has the angelic voice, music in him, and he sings, and it feels like, he vibrates every part of his body, and music was part of him. And then he put so much effort in what he was doing. He believed in himself. He put effort, and the help of the Father, the discipline never died. Even if people talk about Michael Jackson was traumatized as a kid, maybe we could never have the king of pop if Michael Jackson was not given the discipline that he was given by George Jackson. It's all about 50-50 win-win situation. Everything has their pro and con. And if Adolf Hitler and good raising, or he didn't have the ideologies changed, or he didn't have these things, we could never have World War II. Want to think about that, because a lot of things happened. Think about that scientist who is in the lab today, and then he makes an error, and then when he makes an error, then he introduces something we have never seen before. An infection that is wiping a population, masses. Think about that person who is extremist in whatever he's doing, and then he causes trouble in the world. It's all about, look about someone like Osama bin Laden, someone who can talk to people and cause changes in the world. It's all about one person changing the world in a different way. So when you look at yourself, you think that you don't have any change in the world. You feel like you're just a minute person. Think about just one person changing the world. And I'm hoping that you and me, we want to change the world in a better way. Because if I'm hard today, because life is so crazy. We go through a lot. Pain, grief, happy moment, trauma, bitterness, stress, and then we live with them all in one body. And then it's all about how we project them. The bitterness that comes out of us, does it come as we want to change the world in a better place, or we want to make it more worse than we made it to be? So, to every parent who is out there, who is having a child, who is reaching that baby girl, that baby boy, you may think that giving birth to a child, dressing them well, feeding them well is just enough. No, it's not enough. It is through that child of yours that you raise, whatever you raise them, in the way you raise them, you may end up changing the life, the way they see the world, the way they change the world in a different way. You know, you may be shaping the future of the world through that child that you have out there. That one person that you think he is nothing like. You are a mother. You are a father. You are someone who is trying to change the world today. And you see the world in a better place. If you want to change the world in a better place, it's all about you to look at that child that you're raising. Please raise them well. It is very important. Please make sure you raise them well. Sometimes as parents, they don't know if the child that they're raising, if it's the right way or the wrong way. I think as a parent, make sure that you discipline your child. Make sure that your child is having a balanced life growing up. Learn from others. Learn from the fellow parent. Learn from other people that you see in the world today, so that you don't raise a child who is hurt, traumatized. And be your friend to your child. Be a friend to your child, so that you don't raise a child who is, like they say, that they never met you, they never know you, they never knew you, they never knew who you are. It is very crazy for you to raise a child that you don't know what is going on in their life. As we always say, that the greatest investment you can do to a child is to raise the child well, because it is through the child that you're raising today can change the world in a positive way, in a negative way. There is this book I was reading, Bringing Up Boys. Maybe you don't know how to raise the children. Maybe you don't know how to raise them well. Maybe you don't know better. Maybe you have, because of course, as a parent also, you may be having a lot of things going on in your life and you don't know better, you don't know how to raise them well. You're free to ask, you're free to learn from others. You're free to understand from other parents. How do they raise the children? How you raise your child? How are you raise your daughter? How are you raise your son? So that they don't become vagabonds, pampered prince or princess in future. Because we need that person. Because when they grow up, because the way you raise them, between 2 to 6 years, if you shape them well, they becomes the better people that can grow up. As a parent, giving birth to a child is one thing. Providing for them is another thing. And raising them is another thing. But raising them well is what matters. Because we want the world to become a better place for everyone to live in it. We don't want a world that is so hell on earth, because one person with their bitterness, with their trauma, with everything they're going through in life,